What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, former unified WBC, WBA, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman takes to social media and absolutely goes in on undefeated unified WBC, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Errol the True Spence Jr. Obviously, they have a rivalry going on. They never stepped in the ring with one another. But Errol Spence was calling out Keith Thurman since 2016, 2017. He's been looking to make that fight. In 2016, Keith Thurman, who was seen as the best welterweight in the world, outside of, obviously, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, they were on a whole nother level. But in 2017, Keith Thurman was undoubtedly the number one welterweight in the world. Him and undefeated at the time IBF welterweight world champion, British superstar boxer Special K, Kell Brook. Kell Brook and Keith Thurman was talking about doing a showdown for a unification bout. It fell through, never came to fruition, which saw Kell Brook then go up into two divisions and challenge then undefeated unified middleweight world champion Gennady Triple G Golovkin, which he got his eye injured. Then he came back and had to take on his mandatory challenger, which was Errol the True Spence Jr. But Keith Thurman was telling Errol Spence every time Errol Spence called him out that he had to get a title. He had to get a belt if he wanted to see him, right? So Errol Spence did that. He went to the UK. He dominated Kell Brook. He stopped Kell Brook, and he brought back the IBF title. Then Errol Spence was telling Keith Thurman, let's make the fight happen now. He said that now I have a title. Now I have a belt. You was calling for me to get a belt. Now I got a belt, and I got it doing so in a mega fight, in a high level, high quality fight against Kell Brook, against a high quality opponent. So with that said, Keith Thurman then continued to maneuver and go around Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence was on the same telecast on Showtime with Keith Thurman. He called Keith Thurman out to his face on that telecast and told Keith Thurman, this is the fight I want. Keith Thurman then stated that Errol Spence was his Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao fight, and he was going to let the fight marinate, right? He wanted to wait. So Errol Spence got fed up with that. He then fought two-time welterweight world champion Showtime Sean Porter, unified the belts, went on to fight four-division world champion Mikey Garcia, defeated him on pay-per-view. Did two successful back-to-back pay-per-views with Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter. Now he's on the verge of getting his third successful pay-per-view fight with two-time welterweight world champion, two-time two-division world champion Danny Swift Garcia, right? That's going to take place December 5th on pay-per-view. So it's another massive fight for Errol Spence, another massive pay-per-view showdown for Errol Spence. And now Keith Thurman, who's never headlined a massive pay-per-view before, he did so against 8-division world champion, legendary, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pacquiao. Right but he lost that fight. Manny Pacquiao defeated Keith Thurman in that fight to take his last belt that he had was the WBA belt, because he lost the WBC belt due to inactivity, which saw Danny Swift Garcia and Showtime Sean Porter face off against one another for the vacant WBC title. So Errol Spence, that saw Sean Porter be victorious, and then that saw Errol Spence fight Sean Porter and take the belt off of Sean Porter. Now Keith Thurman is in a position where he's not at the top of the welterweight division anymore. Dare I say, most people consider him to be now, he's not even that relevant at the top of the welterweight division. He's still relevant because he's definitely one of the best welterweights, one of the best boxers out there in the world. But as far as when you mention the top 10, when you mention the top welterweights, or when you even talk about, the best fight in the welterweight division, the best fight in the sport of boxing overall period is Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. It's like Keith Thurman dropped the ball, and he admitted that he let the fight marinate too long, and then the injuries took its toll, and inactivity, the rest is history, right? Then he lost to Manny Pacquiao. So the biggest fight in the welterweight division was going to be, as he thought, was going to be himself and Errol Spence Jr. And now it's Errol Spence, and Terrence Crawford has replaced Keith Thurman as the best fight for Errol Spence in the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. Errol Spence said that he has no interest now in facing off against Keith Thurman due to the fact that Keith Thurman gave him the runaround and wouldn't give him the fight when he was calling for the fight. He said so now he has zero interest in fighting Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is not happy about that. Then Errol Spence said that Keith Thurman is not a champion anymore and he's irrelevant. So Keith Thurman responded. He went in. Here's one thing Keith Thurman had to say regarding it. So Keith Thurman is saying, you heard what he said. Let's listen again. So Keith Thurman is saying, I'm still a champ, always a champ. That's a mindset, so on and so forth. And he referred to Errol Spence's horrific car accident he suffered October 10th, just 12 days after defeating Sean Porter September 28th. So Errol Spence will make his ring return, highly anticipated ring return, December 5th against Danny Garcia in a massive pay-per-view event. Like I said, Keith Thurman did a big pay-per-view that was mainly due to the fact that Manny Pacquiao's name was attached to it. Errol Spence has fought guys that aren't legends yet. You know, they're superstars in the sport. You know, they're Hall of Famers, but they aren't legends in the sport. Manny Pacquiao is a legend in the sport. He's an iconic figure, and you put his name on the paper, on the headline with your name, it's going to sell, right? So Errol Spence's headline in his cards, he's, you know, some could argue he's the face of the sport of boxing. He's definitely the pay-per-view king right now. And so Keith Thurman is feeling slighted, but Errol Spence is looking at it from a standpoint, when I wanted the opportunity and you was the man in the position, you didn't give me the opportunity, now you expect me to give you the opportunity. This is still a big fight. Obviously, the fight everybody wants to see is Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. And second to that is Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao for a unification bout. As Errol Spence put it, after he defeats Danny Garcia, he says that he's going to go on and he wants a unification bout with Manny Pacquiao for Keith Thurman's WBA title, which is a massive pay-per-view event that's going to do great numbers. And then he, after defeating Manny Pacquiao, he plans on going and fighting against Terrence Crawford in an undisputed massive mega showdown, the biggest fight of the sport of boxing. After that, it seems like Errol Spence is going to be heading north to 154 junior welterweight division, but maybe he makes one more stop at welterweight and faces off against Keith Thurman. That was a fight everybody was calling for. People still want to see it. Should Keith Thurman definitely going to have to bounce back and fight some relevant opponents and get some big wins under his belt. And then that fight, people will be calling for that fight once again. So let's see how this all plays out. But drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.